All right, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever is applicable as per your time zones. So we are today going to start with physics, ray optics, and what we are going to do is we are going to cover up various concepts on ray optics and try to do different problems which are basically on on a competition level. These concepts, this happens to be a very lengthy chapter. Okay, the only good part about this chapter, for example, a chapter in physics which is basically in your 11th standard for rotational motion, that also happens to be a very lengthy chapter. But the good part about that, or rather this chapter, is that a lot of this portion has been covered in your 9th or 10th standards in most of the boards, including CBSE. Okay, so this is something that we can easily grasp on. Yes, the problems might be a little different from what we used to get in our respective 9th or 10th standards. So we'll start with it without much delay. We all know what is basically a reflection. So the major part of the first part of geometric optics will be reflection. Okay, so now here we have to find out the vector form of the law of reflection. So vector form, now if we look at the simple form, the law of reflection that we have studied so far, let's say we have a plane surface where reflection is happening. So we will have a incident ray, and simultaneously there will be a reflected ray, and between them obviously would a hypothetical normal. Okay, so this will be the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal. So let's say this is basically the reflecting surface. Okay, so we have here the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal. So let's say this is making an angle of theta. So obviously this will also make an angle of theta. Why? Because angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Now let's say the unit vector in the direction of incident ray. So this is, let's say, the unit vector in direction of incident ray, unit vector in direction of incident ray, and simultaneously let's say this is the unit vector, in direction of reflected ray. Okay, in the same way we can say that, let's say if I draw basically a kind of a tangent out here. So let's say if I extend this as a tangent out here. Okay, if I extend this as a tangent out here and I name this as unit vector in the direction. So this is unit vector along the tangential direction, unit vector along the tangential direction, and let's say this is normal, unit vector along the normal, Okay, so these are the things that we have basically assumed in order to derive the law of reflection in the vector form. Okay, so law of reflection in the vector form, how will we derive this now? Now we can see that if I happen to resolve this vector into two components, what will I get? So EI, this will be equal to, so this is unit vector. So unit vector will have a unit component, that is 1 into cos theta. Now understand this will go in this direction, so against the normal. So this will be minus n. So that is going to give you minus cos theta n. Okay, now let's look at this component. This component will obviously be in this direction. So this will be sin theta, and this will be a positive t, because this is going in this direction. Okay, now let's look at ER. This will be what? ER. So this is basically the reflected ray, the unit vector along the reflected ray. This will have a component towards this and towards this. So both of its components will be obviously positive. So this will be cos theta into n plus sine theta into unit vector t. Okay. Now, if I have to subtract this, let's say ER minus EI. So, this will be cos theta. So, this will be 2 cos theta n, right. This will be cos theta minus cos theta, that will be minus minus cos theta. This will obviously get cancelled. So, E unit vector along the direction of reflection minus E unit vector along the angle of incidence, this will give you 2 cos theta, and this will be basically, this will be L. Okay. Now let's look at this one, the unit vector along this and the unit vector along this. So, if I happen to multiply the unit vector along the direction of I into n, if I happen to do a scalar product, we all know scalar product will be what? Scalar product will be magnitude of the two vectors. Now, EI is a unit vector, so magnitude obviously will be 1. N is a unit vector along the direction of the normal, so its magnitude will also be 1. Now, what about the angle that is there between them? Look at this angle. So, here if I extend this, this will be along this direction. Okay. So, what angle do we have here? What angle do we have here between? This is the angle that we have, right? This would be the angle that we will have between these two vectors. This is the angle. And what will this be? Obviously, this is a straight line. So, this entire angle is how much? 180 degrees. So, how much would this angle be? This will be 180 minus theta. So, that will be the cos of the angle. Okay. So, we will have cos of pi minus theta or 180 minus theta. See, this is the direction and this is the normal. So, obviously, between the normal and the incident ray, the rays have to join tail to tail in order to calculate the scalar product. So, that is what we are doing, scalar product of the unit vector along the incident ray and the normal along the plane. So, what we will have here is I cos theta cos pi minus theta. So, this will be 1 and this will be how much? Minus cos theta. This will be minus cos theta. So, unit vector along the incident and the normal, this will be minus cos theta. I hope we are clear on this one. Okay. Now so if I have to place the value of cos theta will be how much? Cos theta will be equal to EIN n, and that will be a minus EIN minus. So, if I substitute this value here, this will be ER unit vector minus EI unit vector will be equal to 2 cos theta n. So, this will be 2 cos theta, the value of 2 cos theta will be minus EI unit vector into n, okay, and then we have a unit vector out here. Okay. So, this will be the value. So, this is ER unit vector will be equal to EI, this goes here, EI unit vector, this goes here, we have minus 2 EI. Okay. Now, this will be into n into n. So, this is n into n. N into n will give you what? Unit vector of n, this multiplied by unit vector of n. So, this will be 1 into cos 0. So, this will be basically 1. Okay. So, this is what we will get, that is minus EI vector. So, ER vector will be equal to minus EI vector. ER vector will be equal to minus EI vector. Okay, that's the vector form of the law of reflection. Okay. All right, just put a moment here. Okay, so we have this question here. A ray of light is incident on a plane mirror along a vector AI Bj minus Ck. So, basically the incident vector is given and the normal on the point of incidence is I plus j under root 2. So we have seen earlier in a derivation, or rather the vector form of representation, that if this happens to be the surface and if this happens to be the incident ray and this happens to be the reflected ray, okay, and if we draw a normal out here, if we kind of configure this as theta and this as theta, this to be the unit vector along the incident ray, this to be the unit vector along the reflected ray, this is the unit vector along the tangential, this will be the unit vector along the normal. So what do we have here in terms of unit vector? So if I happen to extend this, then obviously the value of this angle will be 180 minus theta. The value of this angle will be 180 minus theta. Okay, so let's quickly look at this. Okay, so E I, the unit vector along the incident ray, if I happen to draw its two components, one component will be along this direction, it will be along this direction, of course. Okay, so this will be sine theta component, this will be the cos theta component, right? So cos theta into minus n direction, plus the other component will be along this direction, so this will be sine theta along the tangential component. So we will have EIS as sine theta along the tangential component minus cos theta along the normal. In the same way for ER we will have sine theta, so sine theta along n and plus cos theta, sine theta along n, cos theta along n, I am so sorry, yes sir, sine theta along the tangential component, sine theta along the tangential component plus cos theta along n. So here it will be sine theta, this will be sine theta along the tangential component, that is this component, plus cos theta into normal. So this will be ER. So if I happen to subtract this 1 from 2, what do I get? We will get ER minus EI, that is ER, unit vector along the reflected ray minus unit vector along the incident ray. Sin theta components will basically cancel each other. Sin theta components will basically cancel each other, and we will be left with 2 cos theta because cos theta factor this is basically unit vector along the normal. Now if I happen to do a scalar product of unit vector along the incident ray and a scalar product of the unit vector along the normal, obviously what I get is 1 1, and what will be the angle? As I stated, the angle between them will be cos pi minus theta, and cos pi minus theta we all know is minus cos theta. So this will be unit vector along the incident and unit vector along the normal as minus cos theta, or we can say cos theta is equal to unit vector along the incident and unit vector along the, this will be minus. So if I happen to substitute this value of cos theta in this equation, what do we get? ER minus EI, this will be equal to 2 minus EI into n, and there is a factorial, there is a unit vector along this. Okay, so now the normal on incident a point is along this, so this is what has been given. So the unit vector, if we happen to draw the unit vector along incident ray, the unit vector along the incident ray here will be how much? This will be equal to, unit vector along the incident ray will be AI plus BJ minus CK upon under root of a square plus b square plus c square, and here actually it is the unit vector along the normal. So we know the unit vector along the normal to be I cap plus j cap upon under root 2. So just now putting the values here. So here we will have ER, if I happen to do this, unit vector along the incident ray minus, this minus comes out, so this will be unit vector along the incident ray into normal, a scalar product into the normal unit vector. So putting the values here, ER, this will be equal to unit vector along the incident ray will be AI cap plus b j cap minus c k cap upon a square plus b square plus c square minus 2 into unit vectors. Now let's say if I multiply this by this, so obviously ai gets multiplied by I, so this will give you a bj multiplied by bj, this will give you a b. If I multiply the other vectors, obviously I into j, the scalar product will become 0 because the angle between them is 90 degree. Similarly j into I, again cos 90 will be 0, so it will be 0. K doesn't have any component to get multiplied, k with I will give you 0, k multiplied by j will give you 0. So we will have no c out here. Okay, so this will be under root of a square plus b square plus c square into this under root. Obviously n unit vector I plus j cap by under root goes out. So here we have a I cap plus b j cap minus c k cap upon under root of a square plus b square plus c square. Now if I see under root into under root 2 will be 2 and this can cancel with a 2. So this will be minus ai plus bi plus a j cap plus b j cap upon under root of a square plus b square plus c square. So this will be how much? This will be basically under root of a square plus b square plus c square, and this will be a I cap minus a I cap gets cancelled, b j cap minus b j cap gets cancelled. This will be minus c k cap minus a j cap minus b minus a I b I a j b j. Okay, so here the b j and b j gets cancelled, a I and a I get cancelled, the b j and the b j part get cancelled. So we have here minus c cap plus minus c cap minus c k cap minus a j cap minus b I cap. So the unit vector along the reflected ray here is minus a j cap minus b I cap minus c k cap upon a square plus b square plus c square. Okay, so that would solve the problem out here. Alright people, so in continuation with the problems that we were dealing with in ray optics, we will just continue with the same. Okay, so we have a problem here, two plane mirrors. These are basically two plane mirrors which are inclined at an angle of theta. So we have two plane mirrors which are inclined at an angle of theta. A light ray incident traveling parallel to the surface of the mirror M2. So this is basically a light ray which is incident and traveling to the surface of the mirror M2 and incident on mirror M1. So this is basically M1 and this is M2. Both of them are inclined at an angle of theta. There is a line which is parallel to M2 and striking this M1 and striking this M1. What should be the value of theta? So the light ray retraces its path after the third reflection. So let's kind of draw this, or let's first, since we have understood this problem, I think we can downsize it here. Okay, so here we have to find out the angle theta so that the light ray retraces its path. So the light ray is retracing its path. So let's quickly draw a rough figure here. So let's say this is mirror M1 and we have simultaneously, oh sorry, this is mirror M1 and this is mirror M2. We have a ray of light. Let's take the color a little different. So we have a ray of light which is incident like this, and this is parallel. This is parallel to M2. Okay, the ray of light after reflection will obviously move in this direction, and it will after the third reflection. So this would be the third reflection. This is the first, second, and this will be the third. Now what is being said in this problem is, in case you are not able to look at it clearly, two plane mirrors M1 and M2 are inclined at an angle theta. So these two plane mirrors are inclined at an angle theta. So this is basically mirror M1 and this is mirror M2. So this is the polished surface of mirror M1 and this is the polished surface of mirror M2. So there is a ray of light. Now obviously if this angle is theta, are inclined at an angle theta, a ray of light is traveling parallel. So this ray of light is basically parallel to this M2 and this is striking. So what will be the angle here? This obviously will be theta. This angle obviously will be theta. What should be the value of theta? So the light ray retraces its path. So which means the light ray comes here, then first reflection it gets here, second reflection it goes here and it retraces its path, which means that after striking this mirror it retraces its path. Now a very clear cut concept out here is that when a light ray is striking, when a light ray basically let's say it's the mirror and there is a light ray which is striking, if the light ray is normal to the mirror, it will retrace its path back in the same direction. So the light ray is basically normal. If this is let's say the mirror, a normal incident ray will have a normal reflected ray. So if this is the incident ray, obviously the reflected ray will be this. Okay. So in the same way, since the light is retracing its path, obviously if it is going this way, it is coming back in the same path. So definitely this angle has to be 90. Definitely this angle has to be 90. These two are equal, being corresponding angles. So we can say that these two are equal. Theta is equal to theta. This theta is equal to this theta, being corresponding angles. Okay. Now here we have 90. This is theta. So obviously this one will be what? 90 minus theta. This angle. Look at this triangle here. Look at this triangle. If this is theta, this is 90. Obviously this one will be 90 minus theta. I am not going into the naming part out here. I am just clarifying the concept that will be used in order to crack this problem. Now let's look at the glancing angle. Okay. So if let's say this is an incident ray. Let me just rub this here. So let's say if I have an incident ray coming like this, okay, and let's say there is a reflected ray which goes like this. So obviously if this angle happens to be theta, this angle happens to be theta, obviously this angle and this angle will also be equal. Why? This is called 90 minus theta. This will also be equal by principle of laws of reflection. This will also be 90 minus theta. So these are known as glancing angles. Glancing angles. So glancing angles are equal by principles of law of reflection. So in this case, let's look at this. See, if this is theta, obviously this one will be the glancing angle and this one will also be theta. This one will also be theta. Okay. Similarly, since this ray is coming like this, since this is the glancing angle for this reflection, look at this. This ray is coming like this and this is getting reflected like this. We have already calculated the value of this angle as 90 minus theta. So obviously here it will be 90 minus theta. So these two are basically what? These two are glancing angles, and similarly these two are also glancing angles. These two are also glancing angles. Okay. So now let's look at it. So in this triangle we have this as 90, this as theta. Obviously let's say if I take this as x, so this will be 90 plus theta plus x, okay, that is equal to 180 degrees. We will come to this again. If I take all these as supplementary angles, that is, this is 90 minus theta plus x plus 90 minus theta is equal to 180, right? See, if I add this and this will be 180 degrees. So 90 minus theta, x, and 90 minus theta, this will be 180. So here we have 180 cancelling out all these two. So here we have x is equal to 2 theta. X is equal to 2 theta, which means that this angle will be 2 theta. This angle will be 2 theta. Okay. Now coming to this triangle. Wherein we have 90 plus theta plus x is equal to 180. So we can write this as 90 plus theta plus 2 theta is equal to 180, which would mean 90 plus 3 theta is equal to 180. That means how much? 3 theta is equal to 90 minus 180 minus 90, so this will be 90. So therefore theta will be equal to 30 degrees. So this theta, which was supposed to be found out here, will be 30 degrees. Okay, that's how we are going to solve this problem. All right, so let's move on to the next one here. Okay, we have here a point source of light. A point source of light B is placed at a distance L in front of the center of a mirror. So this is basically placed at a center of a mirror in front. So this is basically the mirror which is hanging here, a mirror of width D. So this is a mirror which has a basically distance of D, and on the center is placed a light source, that is B. A man walks in front of the mirror. So the man is walking along this line, along a line parallel to the mirror. So this is basically the mirror, and the man is walking like this parallel to the mirror at a distance 2L from it, as shown. Find the greatest distance over which he can see the image of the light source from the mirror. So you have to find out the greatest distance through which he can see the, I am just curious whether this is visible. Okay, let me just check. Yes, it is visible. Okay, all right. So we have to find out, 1 second here, my PC is kind of getting, just one moment people. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience here. Okay, so now we have to find, so the man is traveling from here to here. So let's kind of make a ray diagram so that we have a proper visualization of the concept here. So here let's say we have this mirror. This mirror is somewhere here, that is MN. This is the mirror, and let's say the man is walking along a line which is parallel to the mirror, Okay, now on this side we have a point B, which is exactly in the middle point here somewhere, and from the point B, of course, if I basically trace out the incident ray from the point B, let's say this is the incident ray, so it will be reflected like this and it will reach somewhere here. Similarly, the incident ray from the point B here will be reaching somewhere here, and then again it will be reflected somewhere here. Okay, so this is how the reflection is happening. Okay, so let's kind of extend this. If I extend this beyond here somewhere, and if I happen to extend this beyond here somewhere, it is not coming as a straight line. So it is meeting somewhere here. Okay, now let's say we happen to draw a perpendicular here. Let's say we draw a perpendicular here for this reflection, and we draw a perpendicular here for this reflection. Okay, all right. So let's say now we are already given that this distance, basically this distance here is a distance of 2L. Okay, and we are given that this distance here, is L. Okay, now we have here, this is basically the incident ray, this is the reflected ray, incident ray, reflected ray. Okay, this is the incident ray, this is the reflected ray. So here till here this distance is L, here till here the distance is 2L. Okay, let's quickly name this. We all know that this is the light source B, this is the light source B, this is, let's say, normal. So obviously this will be normal here. Now let's say we name this as, we give some names. Okay, now we also know that this distance, basically this distance is D. This distance happens to be D. Okay, so we have this distance as D. So obviously let's say I name this as uh, let's say, what do we name this as? Where do we name this as? So this is mn already. Okay, nothing to be named here. Mn already. Okay. So the man is basically traveling from, let's say, point to a point Q. Okay, and let's say this is m dash and this is n dash. So the man is traveling like this. So he can see, let's say he sees the first reflection here. So he travels all the way up to here till he sees the reflection. Now obviously this will be perpendicular here, and if this is the angle of incidence, this will be the angle of reflection. Again, this is the angle of incidence, this will be the angle of a reflection. Okay, now let's say I just draw hypothetical figures out here. Let's say I draw a line here which is basically CD, or let's say this is CD. Just one moment here, I might have to take this call here. I'm so sorry, I got a call. Okay, so here we have let's say this is CD, and here we have m dash n dash. Okay, so now let's look at this, or rather let's say extend this as well. So if I happen to extend this, as here and this as here. Okay, let's name these points where it is intersecting the lines. So let's say this line is X, and let's say this is Y. Okay, seems a little complicated, but let me explain this. So this is the incident ray, gets reflected, reaches point Q. This is the incident ray, gets reflected, reaches point P. This is directly in the middle. Okay, the man is walking from P to Q. So till the time he is walking parallelly to the mirror from P to Q, he can see the image of the light B, which is basically falling on the mirror. Okay, so now let's say the mirror is of height mn, so this will be m dash n dash, this will be m dash n dash. Okay, so let's calculate this here. Now if I see, the PQ distance has to be calculated. So what do we need to calculate? The distance PQ. So obviously we know that PQ is basically what? P n dash, this will be P n dash plus n dash m dash, n dash m dash plus m dash q, okay, P n dash m dash n dash plus n q. Now by geometry we can say that this m dash n dash will be equal to mn. Obviously yes, because it is forming a rectangle and opposite sides will be equal. So m dash n dash will be equal to mn, and that is how much? D. Okay, that will be equal to D. Okay, so now let's, why is it sounding so confusing here? Okay, let me push this up here. This will be basically C, this is C and this is D. Okay, and this point at which it intersects is X. Why is it looking so confusing here? X and Y. Okay, so now let's say in this triangle, now let's say BC and BD, we know that obviously BC will be equal to CD. Let me write the ones which we are deriving here. So this will be obviously D, this will be obviously D. Now BC will be equal to CD, so BC will be equal to what? D by 2. BC will be equal to D by 2, and so CX will also be equal to D by 2. See, it's very obvious, because see, we don't have to prove in physics as we do in mathematics, but let's say why would it be equal? See, these two triangles here, these two triangles can easily be proved as congruent. Why? Because this will be obviously right angle, this is a common side, and again this is an angle which is equal. Angle of incidence is equal to angle of incidence, AAS, angle side. So we have a common side here, this angle equal, and this angle equal. So obviously BC and CD will be equal, because triangle BCN will be congruent to triangle XCN by A angle side theorem. Okay, so obviously BC and CD will be equal. We don't have to write all these things in physics, it's just a way of dealing it. Okay, now CX, so obviously BC will be equal to, oh I'm so sorry, this will be BC is equal to CX. I am so sorry people, this will be BC is equal to CX. So BC will be equal to D by 2 and so will be CX. Okay, now let's come to this triangle. Okay, in triangle N dash P, N dash P. So in triangle N dash P, what do we have here? Okay, let's look at this triangle very carefully. So in triangle N dash P and C N dash P and NCX and NCX. So if you see, this angle theta is common to both, and obviously this will be 90 and this will be 90. So we can say that triangle N dash P will be similar, N dash P will be similar to NCX, that is NCX by AA test. Now if these are similar, then what we can say is NC by N dash, NC by N dash will be equal to CX by N dash P, CX by N dash P. Remember what we are trying to calculate here. We are trying to calculate this P N dash or N dash P. Okay, because we already have the value of N dash M dash, which is this, and okay, let's finish off with this. So this will be corresponding sides of similar triangles, So NC is how much? NC is how much? This will be obviously L, and N dash will be how much? N dash will be 2L, so this will be 2L. CX is D by 2, and here we have N dash P, so N dash P, this amount. Okay, so N dash P will be equal to 2L into D by 2, 2L into D by 2 upon L. This gets cancelled, so N dash P will be equal to D, which means that this particular side will also be D. Now look at this very carefully. This triangle and obviously this triangle are congruent. Why? Again theta 90. Okay, so and this side will be equal. Why? MM dash will be equal to N dash. Pretty obvious reasons, because these are parallel lines and the distance between the parallel lines remains the same. So if we see in triangles MQM dash and NPN dash, okay, MN, so M dash MQ is equal to angle M dash MQ is equal to N dash NP, both are equal to theta, Also M dash will be equal to M dash will be equal to N dash. Perpendicular distance between two parallel lines are always equal. Perpendicular distance between two parallel lines are always equal. Okay, what else do we have? Obviously QM dash MQ, angle QM dash M will be equal to PN dash N, and that is equal to 90 degrees. We can all see this. Okay, so therefore these two triangles will be congruent. Triangle MQM dash will be congruent to triangle NPN dash by AAS, again angle side. So obviously N dash P will be equal to M dash Q, corresponding sides of congruent triangles or CPCT. Okay, so this will obviously be D. So the entire PQ distance will now be equal to D plus D, and that's going to be 3D. Okay, find the greatest distance over which we can see the image of the light source. Find the greatest distance over which the man can see the image of the light source. The greatest distance is basically equal to 3D. I hope this is clear, people.